Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the first episode of The Next Block. What's going on, everybody?
Heck yeah, shout out to the Algo fam for helping us vote on the name of the show. I'm loving it. I love the artwork JT put in for us. As far as the thumbnail goes, it's looking clean.
Hey, what's good, y'all? I agree with David. Appreciate the Algo fam.
All right. So what's going on today? We've got special guest BlockRank on lock, ready to come on the show. But what else is everyone else seeing out there?
Well,
Let's talk.
Algorand, go ahead.
I would say let's talk Silvio.
Okay, yeah,
So
let's talk on that real quick, and then let's bring in our guest on BlockRank. What did everyone think about that discussion over at the what was it, FTX Salt conference?
yes, so I thought Silvio definitely represented the Algorand Foundation or blockchain well. He broke it down, and he was mostly focused only on what they have accomplished and what they're doing right now. No speculation. So I thought that was like great.
Yeah, I was pretty unimpressed by the other people he was on stage with, to be honest, and sort of shocked by some of the things they were saying. I mean, we spoke privately about it, but who was it? The Avalanche guy who was saying we should basically just deal with the problems of the EVM
Yeah,
and go from there.
everybody
It's just
just
like,
conform to EVM, and then we'll figure it all out later because that's just what we've done in the past. That's just a great forward-looking, creative way to handle things.
yeah, I was
He's
really
got tons of ETH, and he's pumping his own bags there.
I was really shocked by that for sure.
Yeah, it basically doesn't make any sense when like it's already proven that
Kept
other
being
blockchains.
empirical. Only thing I could think of is dude's like, he's Star Wars. He's like, he's with the Imperial Army, just trying to like just get in line with what we're doing. We're on the Death Star. We're gonna blow up everybody, who doesn't believe what we believe.
He a stormtrooper.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, honestly, we could probably just segue right into what we are doing, what's happening on the chain right now, and how different applications could utilize some things that are happening on the chain, like this company BlockRank. I mean, they're a data analytics tool. They're helping numerous projects right now through with like airdrops and things like that. So, how about we just bring on our guest and go from there?
Yep. Bring on Davis.
All right, let's bring on Davis. What's going on, Davis?
Hey guys, super great to be on the show. Thanks for inviting me on here.
Hey.
Of course. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, of course.
So how about we just start off with a little bit of an introduction on who you are and what BlockRank is.
Sure. Okay, so my name's Davis Weaver. I founded BlockRank back in November. What we're trying to do is unlock all the data that's being generated on chain, specifically on Algorand, to try to help everyone's favorite project make better decisions and make decisions that are, when they distribute their tokens, that are going to lead to the price of the token going up as opposed to the price of the token going down. As far as who I am currently a graduate student, so I'm in MD PhD program at Case Western, which is in Cleveland, Ohio, and I've just been doing research in the lab for the last 6 years. So that's me.
Congrats on that.
Thank you.
And when we spoke last time, you mentioned that a lot of projects are using you're leveraging your technology to help with their airdrops. Could you speak a little bit more onto how that works?
Yeah. So one thing that I've noticed in my year or so on the in the Algorand ecosystem is that airdrops are often farmed. What farming is when individuals create numerous wallets or numerous accounts and then try to fulfill the requirements. Maybe they need to interact with some social media posts or hold a certain amount of the asset so that they can receive multiple airdrop distributions. And so we're helping companies avoid this problem by showing them the way that all of the accounts interact with one another so that they can find the people that are kind of clearly creating multiple accounts. So when they do their marketing and they do their airdrops, they can be reasonably certain that they're sending to individuals rather than just public addresses.
Is this also included with bots?
Yeah, so I think a lot of people do use bots for this purpose. You can find bots. It's not quite as straightforward because when you set up the airdrop, you basically can tell what someone would have to do to farm it. Whereas sometimes with bots, the purpose isn't as clear. That is something that we're planning on offering, kind of bot detection algorithms in the future. But for now, if you know what you're looking for, you could probably find it. But if you don't, then that'll be challenging.
Could you give an example of, one of the clients that you guys have already had, within the BlockRank ecosystem that you guys have helped benefit from your all service?
Yeah, so one of our first clients was BirdBot. We've been working with them since December. A lot of your viewers are probably aware that they do quarterly airdrops as well as a lot of other incentives for holders. And it's a really great way for them to grow the number of users that they have and make sure that folks are excited to continue to interact with their platform. But they have noticed that they do have a structure that's potentially exploitable by these farmers. So they've been using our software to identify these accounts that are trying to receive multiple airdrops and then just preventing them from participating in any further distributions. So we've actually done some calculations. So BirdBot, they've allocated between airdrops and staking and other marketing spend, they've allocated like 10% of their supply to this ecosystem growth. And so, in real dollars, that's, anywhere, depending on when you look at this price, anywhere between $1.5 and $3 million worth of birds token. And so they're using our service to make sure that $1.5 to $3 million of birds doesn't end up right back in the liquidity pool because somebody gamed their system.
Yep. Do you have the ability to share your screen? Because if not, I actually have the video pulled up from your YouTube channel. Would you mind if I showed that and you could speak a little bit more to it?
Yeah, go for it. That'd be great.
Awesome. Let me just do that. Let's see.
Does it give you the ability to let him share his screen and him show what he showed us yesterday, or?
Yeah, he could, but this is pretty much the same thing.
Okay.
Awesome. So here we have all of these dots represent wallets, correct? And then these clusters represent likely wallets that are kind of working together.
Yeah. So what you're looking at is exactly what JT said. So every dot is an account, and then each of the connections represents transactions that are occurring between two accounts. And it's not so straightforward that every cluster of accounts is probably a farmer or a bot, because some of these accounts represent liquidity pools or team wallets or anything. But yeah, exactly what JT has found in on is that, when you have a structure like this, where you have an account that's not a liquidity pool, that's seeding a number of different wallets, you can start to identify what might be a farming cluster. And what I was doing in the videos, I was going through and showing that each of the transactions is identical. They happen around the same time. All the accounts were created around the same time. We've kind of caught someone in the act here.
Yeah, no, this is really, really interesting stuff. It's kind of cool to watch, to be honest, too.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I got a question about like you and your team. Can you talk about how many people on your team and like what's the process like working on this project?
Sure. So our team we're really excited about it. So there's four of us, four co-founders. So we all knew each other back in college at Duke University. Shout out to North Carolina, to the state of North Carolina, not the University of North Carolina, of course. Oh, who cares? Kentucky. Okay. So the four of us met 10 years ago at Duke, and we've kept in touch since. And when I had this idea, I reached out to them. So one of my friends is he's in business school, and he's going to be sort of running the business side of things. And then my other two friends are one of them's a really talented software developer, and the other one's a data scientist. So we've got this really great founding team. Three of them are going to start full time in the next few months, and then we're actually expanding even further right now. And I won't sort of say anymore because I don't want to jinx any of the hires we're trying to make. But I think we're going to have 2 or 3 more folks to add to the team on a full-time basis in the next few months. So yeah, we're growing really fast, and we're having a ton of fun building this platform so that we could scale to even more companies on Algorand.
Yeah, that's super exciting. What does your all's roadmap look like, I guess, for say the rest of 22, into 2023, as you guys are building out? What's things that you guys are looking to accomplish?
Yeah, I think the big thing we want to accomplish is we want to figure out exactly what people want to use it for. So airdrop farming is one thing, but other things that we've had lots of conversations in the ecosystem, and companies are interested in using these analytics tools to understand how their users are interacting with their platform or their competitors' platforms, so they can make decisions about kind of where to go next and from a development standpoint. And so I think we want to figure out those exact use cases and then spend the next year really taking what's currently more of a tool for visualization and turning it into a comprehensive platform where you can generate reports about suspicious users in your ecosystem or really good users in your ecosystem, you can really interact with the data in an even more user-friendly way than having to navigate through sort of data visualizations.
So, and we talked last time or off camera. Can you break down SaaS for the audience?
Yeah, so that's our business model, software as a service, SaaS. So we're so the tools we're building are going to be primarily for other companies, and that's sort of where that terminology comes in. The other kind of software. JT. Someone in the chat's calling you out, saying you're getting nervous.
Nervous?
JT never gets nervous.
Yeah, no,
That's right. Look at him; he's cool as a cucumber.
I'm good. I'm looking something up over here. Actually, sorry.
But so that's sort of where we're focusing for probably the next year. We do have a lot of cool ideas. Some of the analytics that we're developing may be interesting for regular users in Web3. So we've got all sorts of ideas of how we could build a UX, a user experience that would allow regular DeFi users and crypto traders and stuff to participate in our ecosystem as well. But that's kind of a down the line. That's a teaser, I guess, for a while from now.
Yeah, I mean, obviously coming from someone who, I don't have a DApp on Algorand, so, I wouldn't necessarily be looking to use your service. But, as a YouTuber, obviously I use my YouTube analytics page all the time. Like the amount of data I get from that is so valuable because not only do I know the age and, the geography, location, and the time of the day that people consume my content, but it seems like you guys would be able to add that sort of value to dApps as they're being built. They'd be able to plug in with your all software, use it, especially with launches and things like that, and really be able to up their game to make sure that, they're not having these awful launches or just people always thinking that, someone's, a VC's, gaming the system and things like that. And I feel like it could honestly come to a point where people may look at a project and they may see that BlockRank is a part of it and have more confidence in the project itself.
You know what? We're going to have to hire. I know you've got a really great YouTube channel. I think we're going to have to hire you as a salesperson. That was a better pitch than I've given. So, I'll tell a story for your guests, for your viewers. There's a really, really high profile airdrop went down in the Cosmos ecosystem. I know we're Algorand faithful over here, but in the Cosmos ecosystem, a new network, a parachain as they call it, which on Algorand would be like just a clone of the Algorand mainnet, launch called Juno.
Oh yeah,
and
I know
they airdropped. They tried to do what they call a fair drop, where depending on how much Cosmos you were staking in their system, you received an equivalent amount of Juno tokens. But to avoid the problem of really, really wealthy individuals who are staking a lot of Cosmos controlling the entire governance of the Juno platform, they had a hard cap. So anti-whale metric to make this more of a fair drop. Now, the problem is the blockchain is anonymous and they didn't have anybody doing analytics like us to try to figure out how any accounts were connected with one another. Mm-hmm. And a very wealthy individual had spread their Cosmos stake across a lot of different validators, was able to collect dozens of these Juno airdrops. Their net worth in Juno tokens at one point was $125 million.
Jeez.
Man.
Yeah. And it was such a problem because they could have rug pulled. They could have drained all the liquidity on every DEX of Juno tokens based on the amount that they accrued in this airdrop. Yeah, I think that's kind of what's that?
It was free money,
free money. Yeah. So that's what's at stake. If you want to do things fair, but in an anonymous system, you have to have a way to make sure that everyone's playing by the same rules that you are. Yep. And so that's kind of where I think if they had been using us, then they wouldn't have had to have that huge kind of nightmare scenario.
Yeah, I feel like something Silvio said in the Crypto Bahamas that would really tie in well here when he was sitting right next to the Solana guy talking about, transactions per speed and really, putting out the fluff and the hype. He said, we could do that, but, without cheating, then, obviously we'd have to actually be serious about it and doing it the right way. And I feel like, as the Algorand community continues to grow, we see launch pads come alive. So more projects, EVM compatibility, things are going to be moving over fast. So I do think that having the ability to plug in something like what BlockRank brings will we'll give an extra added layer of protection and just security for, algo users and people who are aping into ASAs that, in past months, there's been a lot of, we've seen rugs in the Algorand community. We've seen weird thing. I mean, I was on the zone one. There was a lot of weird stuff there. I'd love to see what what y'all could dig up and find there. But, that's just the kind of it's where we're at right now. And so I think and we did just get the Para Algo wallet, that verification is another layer of, trusted, verified, and then I forget the other one,
super trusted. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's actually the opposite.
The one where Para is actually invested in you, and so
right.
So if anyone in my audience has, or our audience has, is building a project or has a project out there already, how could they get a hold of BlockRank and utilize your services?
Yeah, no, definitely appreciate the shout out. So you can email us at sales@blockrank.io, and it's confusing actually because our website is a .com, but our emails are all block-rank.io. And you could also find us on Twitter. We're at BlockRank with no hyphens or anything. And I think that's probably where we're most active. Or you can connect with me on LinkedIn. My name is Davis Weaver. Hopefully not that hard to find. Davis is a pretty weird name. Most people just call me David, which is, but yeah, so we'd love to connect with anybody who has questions or, super great.
Where'd y'all get that name from?
BlockRank. Yeah. So, when I first had the idea, I was really excited about using Web 2 style search engines to index the way that accounts transact with one another, because the structure of the data is actually very similar to the structure of the data that Google collected to say how websites were connected with one another via hyperlinks. And so Google's famous search engine algorithm was called PageRank. So I was sort of inspired to call the company BlockRank to, blockchain, and then we're sort of going to borrow some of those PageRank style algorithms. So yeah, stay tuned. Hopefully we'll have some even cooler, algorithm generated products to share with you guys.
Nice.
Yeah, well, we'd definitely love to have you back on in the future as you guys continue to grow and bring value to the Algorand ecosystem.
You got it
For sure.
Love it.
I appreciate you coming on the show, honestly. And so far, the product really is like mesmerizing to watch. I mean, I had a good time just watching that video again. So I appreciate coming on the show and sharing your product with everybody.
You got it. Yeah, we'll have some more videos coming out. So for sure, I'll make sure to send them your way.
Awesome.
Thanks, Davis.
Yep.
Yeah, see you guys.
Yeah.
Take care. All right. So what do you guys think?
I'm excited.
I think it's dope because you can never go wrong with analytics. It makes everything so much more clear. I know we all know JT love charting. I want to see JT chart some of these analytics, and it's very useful.
I'm a boring numbers guy, so for me that was very
needed. I feel like for me it's still goes back to the whole idea of I want to jump into some of these projects when they launch, but it just makes me so nervous. Even when I literally kick myself every single time I think about not jumping into the DFly one, because I was up that morning watching you tweet about it, and there was there may have been a rug close to when that happened. I don't really know what kind of pushed me off from really wanting to be a part of it. But if I knew that there's more, like the Para Algo wallet, a deeper level now of verification within the Algorand ecosystem. So that is a bonus. But there was other ways where I would, could track and see and just know that, these tokens are doing their due diligence to make sure that it's not some VC or not some, person who's very technical savvy, able to just go in and game the system. Because honestly, I felt that way with a lot of the ones I've been in. Zone, Smilecoin, I'm trying to think, Yieldly. I mean, obviously there's been weird things there. And it sucks being someone who is, not that technical person to really be able to go and do all the stuff that obviously people like him are able to do. I mean, when I first, looked at BlockRank and watched the YouTube video, I was like, what in the world am I looking at? I didn't know, but obviously him giving us a visual demonstration of it, it makes a lot more sense. And, I'm excited to see things like that come into the ecosystem and hopefully, further benefit token launches and airdrops and all the like.
Yeah, I could certainly see how, analytics like that could be used in numerous sort of ways. But to your prior point about being sort of timid to get into some of these pre-sales and, early drops, I totally get that. But that really goes goes back to the idea of just using a small percentage of your portfolio. There's a lot of people that just want to ape into something with like 30 or 40% of their portfolio or the whole thing for some reason. But if you use 3% of your portfolio and it gets a 10x, now it's 30% of your portfolio. Like that's a substantial gain. But if it goes to zero, that's 3% of your portfolio. That you're fine, you know.
Yeah.
So
That's a good point you're making, like 100%.
for sure, for sure. So
Let's oh, go ahead, JT.
I was just going to say, do we have anything to add about the crypto Bahamas conversation?
Yeah,
Because it looked
I
like
was,
people in the chat actually really enjoyed that
yeah,
conversation.
that's what I was about to say. I didn't want to leave it too quick.
Yeah.
I don't know. What was your all's? I feel like my favorite question that Silvio answered was one of the first ones when he was just asking, you know, kind of, I guess when the moderator was asking, just, you know, go over your all's project, what you guys are doing. Everybody kind of, you know, obviously Solana literally first started off with quoting the NASDAQ and 1 million transactions per second.
That was
We're gonna
so
steal
dumb.
this. And then, you know, obviously the founder of Near was pretty technical on what they're actually trying to do, and it showed promise. Avalanche was, you know, somewhat similar, I would say, to Near as far as what they talked about. But then Silvio's the only one really who's like, this is what we are doing right now. Like, it's not hype, it's not fluff. We can process X transactions per day or transactions per second. You know, finality of 4.5 seconds, which I think so many things. That's one of the biggest things that just kind of gets swept under the rug. Everybody wants to tout their TPS, but they don't want to tout how long it takes them to actually get it completed. And they definitely don't want to mention if there's the ability to fork or transactions just get declined and things like that.
To some degree, a finality is a more important number. I mean, a lot of chains tout a high TPS, but even Solana has a finality of like 12 seconds or something like that, which is substantial. And that's 12 seconds where that transaction could revert and not actually be a final transaction that you could trust, you know?
Doge is like a minute.
Damn.
And like how popular it is.
Like we talking about the NASDAQ thing, that metric is a little weird. It's talking about like actions, and you'd be like, how do you define an action? So I did like how Silvio went right back to the reality of the
because that's a great point too, because they're not really doing 1 million transactions a day. They're settling transactions at the end of the day, and they're allowing you to do, you know, bids and asks on whatever website or brokerage, but those aren't really transactions until they finally settle it all at the end of the day.
Yeah, and then
how long that queue would get.
And sometimes it is, you know, T+2, as you said.
Yeah, and I'm excited that he was like, okay, and this is good. I want to watch Algorand on this. He said by the end of the quarter, if I'm correct, we should be going to 2.5 second finality. We should have our transactions up. So that part I'm very excited about. And it is interesting that no one else talked about their finality and the things that are actually going on. It was more speculation with this other blockchains other than like Near. That guy was speaking some good stuff, I feel like. But
yeah, I'm pretty excited for that upgrade because you know, Paul Riegel on my show said it's going to happen by the end of second quarter. Stacy recently was quoted saying it's going to happen by July, which would be the first month of the third quarter. And Silvio just said it's going to happen soon, so it's likely to happen within the next 3 to 4 months, it seems.
Do y'all think that would affect the price?
No,
it really depends on the broader market, honestly. If we're still in this slump, it might not in the short term, but long term, yeah.
Right. Yeah. And that's where I feel like just having the foundation ready to, you know, because say it goes, you know, to the end of the year and you have Solana who's boasting this, you know, insanely high TPS, and you have Algorand maybe who's finally hit 10,000 TPS, but then you actually start to.
But it's real TPS. We should mention it. TPS, and it's not down.
Reality is 2.5 seconds.
Hours down.
You know, that's where, you know, I feel like that once the big investors really see the nitty gritty of it, not just the fluff and hype, but actually see it happening. I think that's where you may start to see more big investors get into Algorand. And then obviously price could follow. I mean, I've kind of just seen this year as build my bag as big as I can. Like, I don't care if Algorand puts out all the things they say they're going to do, and Algorand is, you know, ETH 4.0, and it's, you know, better than all these other ones say they're going to get to, but the price is 40 cents. I'm still going to be buying as much as I possibly can, because at some point, just like Silvio said with, I think it was Cointelegraph at the Paris Blockchain Summit, but he said at some point speculation is going to end and real world use case is going to come through. And when that happens, that's when you're going to see things like Solana. No major institution company I could see, dealing with a blockchain that, has downtime. You don't know if it's up, forking, and all the other negatives that you see out there. Now, I do believe when Silvio says it's going to be a multi-chain future, I do think there could be projects like maybe the Near protocol or Avalanche or, some of these other, heck, even Doge might have a spot in, market share. Who knows, to some extent, just because of how big the communities are. I mean, I was even tweeting today about ApeCoin. I mean, I know a lot of people think it's a joke, but I think social tokens and community tokens, they will have a place, even if it's not in the real world, but it will have a place in the metaverse, which we all know is a real thing that's coming. So, it's
I
a lot
think
of speculation.
I'll agree with your point on social coins, but to take it back real quick, I think it's also should be known that like we don't really necessarily even have to beat those other chains. If you do believe it's going to be a multi-chain world, and you consider the fact that just the real estate market alone is trillions of dollars, if Algorand is still a top 10 chain, but the crypto market has trillions of dollars, like 10, $20 trillion in it, and Algorand is getting 3% of that, that's a substantially larger market cap than it has now, even if it isn't the best or the number one blockchain, which I think it has a huge likelihood of being, but it doesn't necessarily have to be number one for it to still rise substantially over time with the market.
Yeah, and that's why we see, I mean, obviously it's why everybody sees Bitcoin and, a lot of the cryptocurrencies that are out there as a hedge against inflation, because regardless of, the hype and the price manipulation when it soars something crazy high over time, 5, 10, 15, 20 years, if more things are on blockchain and blockchain technology really does take over by osmosis, high tide rises all ships, or however that saying goes. Like, it's we're gonna see more things come in, especially with I would say the ones that are more ready for real world use case like Algorand is.
So when I'm going to pull back to Solana. Did y'all get a understanding of what the guy was talking about? Solana is going to be used for price discovery for the world.
I think he was just using big words to.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. Yeah,
it's kind of like how when the guy, I think it was the guy from Solana, was talking about the NASDAQ and thing, and then Silvio literally right after him said, we could do 1 million transactions per second if we cheated, and sharding, have 2 validators, and if you centralize it, which if you look at Solana, it is centralized. Like, it's billionaires doing a test to see how much money they can just pull out of people. And it's, it may never come down. I don't know. That's the sad part of the world we live in, is there are many things in the world that are evil and, not meant for, people's good, but still end up benefiting.
Yeah.
Well, David really doesn't like Solana.
I don't.
I just can't trust a blockchain that goes down for 13 hours. So I'm with David.
No, I
don't like Solana. It doesn't make sense that like what Silvio was talking about. I always think about healthcare because he talked about that. But like, how do you use a real thing on Solana? If we're doing lofty AI, what if it froze? We got a new drop coming today. How am I going to buy my tokens?
Yeah, that's a great point. Thanks
for
the reminder of that drop too, by the way. Honestly.
Got you.
I don't know. I feel like it's also not even so much that I hate some of these other blockchains. I feel like maybe it's just because Algorand was the first thing that I really dove into and found, and I I guess I'm a Silvio Micali disciple, and like what he sees as the future of finance. Like, I just get defensive when what is it? Solana hate flow through tape.
No, like David, I'm with you because I'm telling you, I tried every single blockchain. I spent hundreds of dollars in gas fees, maybe thousands, testing everything out, and then I keep going back to Algorand for a particular reason. The finality, the speed, it doesn't drop. And most of us too, for sure, I was there when there was no DAPPS, and I was still like, this is better than the stuff that has DAPPS, just by fee and price alone.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously, I could go on and talk crap about other blockchains, but we all know how.
JT, there's another question. Could you pull it up? It was with the DAPPS. What they say? What DAPPS or what is the Algorand ecosystem still missing? What do y'all think the Algorand ecosystem is missing?
I put out a tweet a couple days, or maybe 2 or 3 days ago. I feel like we need a good launch pad, which maybe ALGO DAO could be that.
Maybe.
incubator thing to bring up projects in a good way. Obviously, I know Yieldly's trying to build something. I know Zone's trying to build something. You got
Algo
ALGO.
Fund,
I feel
Crypto
like
Ergo.
Algorical, or Algo Oracle. I don't know how you say it. That's like the chain link. What chain link is to Ethereum, Algorical could be to Algorand. And then what was the other thing I mentioned?
Social media. I think I know Forum is out there. The Love Chain. I haven't even looked into that recently. I would
I've
say
been talking to the
social
Love
media
Chain,
would be
but
cool.
Yeah,
they've been slow.
there's a lot that's coming that I think will really start to set Algorand apart. We'll have interoperability with bridges, as you said. We'll have
Flare, right?
Yeah,
Flare.
yeah. We have Flare. We have all sorts of things coming with that. We have everything you mentioned as well. But I also think the two platforms that I'm aware of that are bringing options contracts to Algorand, I think will be great as well. A lot of institutional investors love to play options. I mean, it's just what it is,
And that's C3 protocol. That's the other one I put on
Oh,
that.
that's three actually. Now that I'm thinking about, because I actually didn't have C3 protocol on my map, because I think they're waiting for state proofs because they're trying to be a cross margin thing. So they're trying to wait for state proofs. Where the other two that I am thinking of are either in testnet or about to launch their testnet next month.
What was that one you tweeted about today about options trading?
It's like Deradex or something like that. So I think it has like the word derivatives in the front and then Dex, so Deradex or whatever. And then there's like DX or something like that, and then C3 protocol.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I'm also happy about that. We have a lot more decks now, other than just Tiny Man. I use Tiny Man still, but it's like cool that in January when Tiny Man did get hacked, we had nowhere else to go. We're all stuck. So now I'm feeling more secure with more dexes.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Humble get back up and going. I'm excited to see Reach continue to grow and get AVM and Reach Lang. More things like that going, especially because that was even another thing with the Crypto Bahamas. They talked about that EVM compatibility, and obviously the Avalanche guy had the very crazy, point to just say everybody just needs to adopt and quit trying to create this other thing. We've already figured out the best thing, and then we'll figure out how to fix it on the other end. And I feel like it's like crypto is still so young, especially the DeFi and smart contracts area, that like, no, we don't need to just admit or just form behind Ethereum and say, yep, they got they maybe didn't get everything right, but we can just figure it out on the other side. I feel like that's just a very like Silvio was saying, it's a very awful perspective to have when you're someone in technology and science and you're looking at growing and evolving and things like that.
It's like, imagine using the MetaMask every day.
Yeah,
we're gonna be getting hacked. Like it's not a great idea to EVM MetaMask everybody, and we're all at risk, and we're paying high gas fees to. And like what Silvio's talking about, we like, bro, the whole market is 2 trillion. Ethereum got 400 billion, right? So we all gotta conform to that. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I mean, you heard what Silvio said. When you kiss your asset goodbye when it goes on those shaky bridges, and you hope it comes back.
Kiss your
I love some of Silvio's comments. I wish I could have been there to see the audience reaction and whatnot.
Something different I like about Silvio. This is totally not like blockchain related, but it's like a grown man that has been out here in the world, super mathematician that is building, and that always gives me more security than a developer who's trying to use some of Silvio's tech to build something that Silvio has built. And my understanding, I say this: all them on the stage just build on Algorand. That'd be easier.
I mean, just like Silvio said, if we don't have a multi-chain world and there is one chain to rule them all, he said it's going to be Algorand.
It has to be.
Yeah. I mean, as much as we do agree with Silvio, we do also have to take everything. Everyone up there was saying.
You went out.
Yeah, JT, you went out.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you now. Just go back with what you said.
Oh, I was basically just saying that everyone on that stage was saying things that was the best for them. So
you got to sell your product.
Yeah.
But it's like when it comes down to
hype, that dude looked like I don't even know. I mean, obviously he's got way more money than me. He knows what he's doing in life. I'm not gonna act like I've got anything against him. Like he's
we're commentators right now,
probably, and if not more than that. But nonetheless, he's still shady. I'll get off backstage.
All right, so you guys want to talk about Flare Network?
Yeah, let's talk about that. That was a big. Wrote down a few things that I picked up from that. I'm interested to see what do you guys think by, because I read in their article saying that you had the big Ronin hack and you had the Axie Infinity hack. And, you've seen these bridges be hacked before. And obviously that's what a lot of people were worried about. And so with this one, they say from the Bitcoin to Algorand that it's a bridge by consensus instead of, I guess the way that these other ones are done. And so I guess it'll be interesting to see how this bridge is different, and if maybe it's some form of state proofs or something like that, in which the bridge is done and it's not as centralized, I guess, as some of these other bridges have been.
Flare seems like kind of more like Milkamado, that's that's just connected to Cardano, and it's coming to Algorand as well. You see right here, it's basically its own network. It's saying Flare. Oops, Flare is a new L1 protocol, and from what I understand, it's basically like almost like its own chain that like bridges the two chains together, and you can build apps on Flare network, kind of.
I do know Flare is related to XRP and Ripple, because they sent me the Songbird airdrop. They owe a lot of people airdrop money, basically. So I do know they understand and have a great technology just based on XRP is freaking great.
Yeah, I thought it was cool that they include the other ones there too.
Yeah, they've got XLM, LTC, XRP, Doge, BTC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so what Silvio was saying again, like we talk about that, it makes sense. Like he's saying the bridge should be basically trustless. It like shouldn't, it should be just like a really open source DeFi bridge, which will give it ability to have or more security. I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, more security from a centralized attack, like one point, or being able to corrupt a few points to get the keys, or because most of those other ones, I'm pretty sure, like if you get the multi-sig keys, that's how those get hacked, right? They find out that some of the people who are the validators of the bridge or whatever, and then they, I don't know what they do.
Yeah. Or a bad person
who ransom or something probably, and say, if you don't give us this key, then we're gonna do this to you. And so then that's how a hack, I feel like, ends up happening. Whereas if it is trustless and it's just, and there's not a person, kind of like with Algorand's consensus, there's not a person, it's to attack directly, then it makes it more trustless, makes it more secure. I was interested about creating the FBTC, or the F asset, the Bitcoin asset. That's a pretty cool feature of what Flare is doing.
How y'all feel about wrapped assets?
I mean, I'm fine with them for the most part. It just depends on the security of where the original asset's being stored. Because obviously, if that gets hacked, then your wrapped asset's no longer backed and will certainly lose its peg.
I think about Kevin O'Leary. Like I like wrapped assets, but he's like, I like pure Bitcoin.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, of course.
With you have Go Bitcoin and Go ETH, it's with, what is it, Copper? Is that who ALGO uses? So there is a risk that if that was to get exploited, I mean, Go Bitcoin, Go ETH, we already saw something happen a while back where it got arbitrage down, or something happened. I forget exactly what it was for the Go Bit. Oh, it was the Tiny Man exploit.
Yeah, that was a Tiny Man exploit.
That wasn't still, you can see how it can lose its peg, and if it was ALGO Mint and Copper,
that was actually good. That was actually a good time to buy, honestly. When they were cheaper.
That's the true definition of when there's blood in the streets. That's people getting massacred.
I mean, that's basically what I do with the G algo. I mean, when it's down like 1% or 2% based on algo, I buy that instead of algo, because it's basically the same thing.
Now when JT starts throwing FUD out, he's just trying to get y'all to sell so he can scoop up some cheap G algo.
Exactly.
There's enough FUD in the streets. There's global inflation doing enough for me.
Oh wow, yeah.
Let's go to the next topic, which is Fidelity.
Fidelity.
Oh yes.
Now being offered. One of the things I put on here. One, I want to ask you guys this, and I'll get both your all's answer before I go any further. Would you guys, or are you currently considering, or in the coming year? It's not like yet. It's happening at the end of this year. Would you put some of your 401k into Bitcoin?
Yes.
Or into crypto?
I would say yes, because if you think about in the macro long term, what it is going to do is basically is going to lock Bitcoin up for 45 years for everybody, right? And that's good for price. That's good for us. And I would 100% put the max into the Bitcoin, because I think Bitcoin is more valuable than a Vanguard ETF that they're selling us with high fees.
Yeah.
And I mean, to be honest, I've already thought about heavily putting cryptos into a retirement fund, and we've spoken before about I Trust Capital, or I've brought them up at least once before, and they allow you to put, there's like 30 or 40 different cryptos they have that you can put into an IRA or a Roth IRA account, and they also have gold and silver as well. I've definitely put a lot of thought into putting crypto into a retirement account. So I see this as being certainly a good thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I definitely
positive
see it
because
as bullish. It's
It could
coming from
reduce it would reduce volatility because I mean you
more,
have
yeah, more
a
being
lot of
held.
people just holding it as opposed to just trying to flip
trade.
it every day. Yeah.
Yeah, I did have a Bitcoin IRA account for like 3 months. It was interesting because I actually I moved some of my money from my 401k to Bitcoin IRA. I bought Bitcoin and Ethereum. It was actually last summer when Bitcoin was at like 30,000. ETH was at like 1800, 1700, and I actually flipped it. I doubled because I sold it when ETH went up to like 35 or over 3,000, and I sold Bitcoin when it went back up to like 40 or 50K. But I did end up leaving them because, like I said, this was still early in my journey and learning about crypto. And I think the one thing that made me not want to have my assets there, and the article even talks about it, is the centralized risk point of being, of the Bitcoin, of the crypto being stolen and not having it in your own wallet. Now,
Yeah.
obviously, I get that that's a double-edged sword because I pulled mine out, I closed my account, I have it, out of the Bitcoin IRA, but I definitely would, if I ever do have a traditional, job where I would have a 401k, I would definitely want to have some of that asset allocated to Bitcoin. But I do get it's a double-edged sword because when you do have your own keys and you do have all that responsibility and security in your own hands, I mean, who's just, if someone finds out that you have a lot of Bitcoin or a lot of crypto, you know, you are the centralized point of failure. All they got to do is come to you and, put you in a tough situation and make you, give up your keys.
You know what Vitalik does? I saw in the interview. He got like, say, for example, 24 word passphrase. He gives 12 of the words to grandma and 12 of the words to someone else on the side of the world. So you would need to essentially take out 3 people or 2 to 3 people to get his private keys.
Jeez. I've also saw there was a story of a guy who went all in on Bitcoin and for him and his family like 5, 6, 7 years ago. And it said in the article that he has all of his Bitcoin split between 4 cold storage wallets, and they're each on a different continent.
That's how you do it. Like
Yeah.
I watched, did y'all watch Cryptopia? The documentary?
I don't think so.
Well, y'all should watch it, but basically this is making me more bullish on Bitcoin. So you got all these billionaires who essentially control about 9-10% of Bitcoin, but they got it vaulted up in different continents and mountains and with generators. So even if all electricity in the world goes off, these people will keep it going. And then you got to have it was like armed guards, vault security, and the keys are spread out in I think 7 different vaults.
See, it's
They're
interesting.
never selling.
I feel like if the internet goes down and everything like goes to crap like that, I feel like Bitcoin's going to be the last thing that people run into as a security. But then again, I could be very wrong.
Well, you know what? Another thing about Bitcoin, I think is the Congo Democratic Republic of Congo has also adopted Bitcoin like El Salvador.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I did
yeah.
see news that someplace in Central Africa did. Before we get too much off the Fidelity thing, they do have just some facts. They got 2.7 trillion in assets. So obviously later this year, not saying that this could affect price, but I mean, if say by October, November, when maybe we hit the bottom, like JT pointed out in his post on the cycles of Bitcoin, if we were to hit a bottom around later this year, and that's right when, something like a Fidelity or maybe even some other big, retirement funds are starting to adopt it and start to buy for their clients, that could be the bullish, turnaround with the volume and stuff like that, where we could start to see that next tick and start to really move up. As they start to adopt it and buy for their.
I agree because you got like Luna Foundation too. They're taking Bitcoin and using it as a reserve asset, so they still got a big goal of a lot of Bitcoin to buy. And of course, all the other bulls, Michael Saylor and all them, are doing the same thing. So it's getting interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of, how do you guys feel about the market? What do you guys think? What are you guys doing? What's your plan?
I'm buying, bro. Like I'm buying, like what David talked about earlier. I'm buying. This is a year to buy. Get your bags right.
Yep.
That's
Yeah,
my.
I've been trying to buy not just Algorand, but also buy Bitcoin. I've been throwing, $50, 20, small amounts. I'm not for those who watch, I'm not a whale by any means. I feel like I'm probably the most average person with money you have in any investment. So I don't try to tout as if I've got whale size bags, but I buy as much as I can, especially on dips. It's interesting though. Today we saw. We were so fearful. I'm not even say fearful, but there was a lot of fear about, oh my God, what happens when Algorand dips below 67 cents? And I think today alone, Algorand has dipped below it and back above 67 cents like 4 times. So I don't really know what to make of the market. I'm expecting a bigger dip to come. But, there's definitely a part of me that wonders, what if this is just the area we're going to sit at until we turn bullish? And even if it's a relief bounce to like $1 something and then back down, I don't know. But, obviously I'm buying in anticipation that even if the bottom's not in, it's probably going to be in within the next, before 2022 is up, I feel.
Yo, JT, you wrote a post about the dollar index, I believe. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I'm actually trying to pull up the chart right now.
Keeps pumping.
Yeah, I mean I would like to agree with you, David, but it mostly really depends on what the dollar does. I mean, this is a longer view from the last like 10 years. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit, make it a little bit more reasonable. Yeah, so this has been the dollar for the last year, and it's been kind of on a parabolic run, up about 16% on the global stage, with a lot of that coming on this last little run right here. And if it keeps pumping, I could totally see Algorand going down as with the rest of the market, but it is reaching historic highs. If you can see right here, let's see, throw this right here. This top was in 2017, and we're reaching that. It could get rejected, maybe. I'm hoping it does for crypto's sake, but I'm not betting too heavy on it right now.
Nice. Looks like there's one of the questions there. New York Tesla says, C-Will, JT, Crypto for Change. Do you guys use Ledger for any of your Algorand's assets or NFTs? I'm guessing is what that's supposed to say.
Me, honestly, the only thing on my ledger is Bitcoin, but I am planning on adding Algorand to my ledger, honestly.
Yeah, I would use the ledger more if it was compatible with all of the dApps. It currently isn't. I know there's solutions in the works for it, so hopefully it won't be too long until all of the dApps and all the functions on the dApps are ledger compatible, and then in that case, 100%. And that being said, someone's telling me to update my Chrome. I really do. I've got a lot of updates I've been ignoring.
Yeah, that's pretty much the same for me. I have all of my algo pretty much used in various dApps around the Algorand ecosystem and Bitcoin. And I did have my Ethereum on my ledger, but I finally sold the last bit of it and converted a few last of the ERC20 tokens I had over to more algo with just the price drop that we'd seen recently. Here's one question I got, just as I feel like we had already kind of covered all the main topics. This is just kind of for fun. Are you guys nervous that when thinking of it, because I think it was just like Satoshi a couple of days ago was the 11-year anniversary or something of when Satoshi pretty much ghosted and said peace out. Are you guys nervous of that wallet, like holding Bitcoin and knowing that one wallet, the initial wallet, has such a large amount and no one knows who it is? Does that bring fear, or do you don't even care? Obviously, JT said no.
I think it's a burn wallet. It's like they took that out of circulation.
Yeah, I think
how much is in it, by the way?
I think at this point, it's either somebody that is dead or that lost their keys, because I don't think there's any reasonable person that had access to that could have resisted the temptation at this point with how much money it's worth. I really do think that whoever Satoshi was or whoever had access to those keys either lost the keys or isn't alive anymore.
How much is in that wallet right now, value wise?
I don't know. It's like, isn't it a couple million Bitcoin at least?
Yeah,
something like that. It's like a few billion.
I think it's like 3 or 4 million. I'm pretty sure, but I'm not entirely sure. Maybe 2 or 3.
That is something
I agree, JT. I think they would have sold by now.
Yeah, yeah, in
Some
my
of
opinion, they're not
But
alive.
again, it's like,
That's my opinion.
yeah, Bitcoin was such a revolutionary topic, or idea that like maybe the whoever did create it, like they don't see money because obviously money is, all money is just a social construct. Maybe they just are an elevated person who like doesn't care about
need the
this,
money no matter what.
this money or the value. They actually do care about the ideology or the belief system behind Bitcoin, that they can sit on it and it doesn't bother them. I don't know. It's just
I
it's
mean,
an interesting topic.
maybe they might already have billions anyway, and they're like, this is another billion.
Yeah.
So
I mean, do you guys obviously, JT kind of
Nah,
said it, either
I don't know.
Satoshi is gone or
That wallet was worth $48 billion at the peak. I just
yeah, they would have sold.
I'm just not betting that even somebody that had billions wouldn't be like, oh, I could easily just be the richest person in the world by at least accessing some of this Bitcoin.
Yeah, that would make
Like,
you in the top
but
10 and stuff.
but that person might have to think, if that, because obviously the wallet's inactive, if they turn that wallet on and it shows active, what kind of whirlwinds that could put the whole system in, because then everybody would start worrying about, oh my gosh,
oh yeah, it would probably ruin everything.
Yeah, I heard Russia created
it's an
Bitcoin.
interesting conversation to have.
I heard Russia created Bitcoin.
I've heard many things.
I really do think whoever Satoshi is, unfortunately, probably died.
The next question, obviously, I feel like JT you just answered, is, do you think we'll ever find out who Satoshi really was?
No.
I
think it's a group of people, honestly.
Yeah.
It's like, it's got to be like, yeah, I think that same thing with Shakespeare. Shakespeare, from my understanding, is a group of people, of writers, not a person.
Yeah. And even Silvio in his Lex Friedman interview kind of said, like, and obviously I feel like a lot of people kind of carry this mantra, like, we are Satoshi. They're like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't, we don't need to find out the person that is Satoshi and who created it, because it's now so much bigger than, a person.
What's more important is blockchain was invented in like the 80s. So it took a long time for us to actually use blockchain the way we're using it now. So blockchain's not a new invention, and Satoshi didn't invent blockchain, he invented Bitcoin, or whoever that Satoshi person.
Yeah, awesome. Anyone have anything to add in the comments? I mean, I know there's a lot in there, but if you have any questions,
ALGO DAO.
Oh, Joe Rogan is Satoshi. I was told that the other day by Duncan Trussell. Actually, he told me.
I'm just waiting.
Let the audience know.
I know it's gonna happen. I know it's gonna happen, but Tom Brady is gonna like my post. It's gonna happen today, and the way it's gonna happen today is everyone in the comments right now needs to go over to my Twitter, where I tweeted out to try to get Tom Brady to create a hashtag winning NFT series on Algorand, because that was his talk. His talk in the Crypto Bahamas was hashtag winning. So he needs to create a hashtag winning NFT series on Algorand. Everybody needs to go like it, retweet it, and get the tweet hashtag going. ALGOGetTomBrady, because it kind of has a nice ring to it.
Yep.
That's my last thing to say.
Awesome. Yeah.
But my comment was to the audience, ALGO DAO will be on my show on Friday, and I'll post that video about a week from now. So if y'all got any questions, tap in with C-Will, write me, write one of us, write in the comments, and then I'll make sure that those questions get answered, because I know people are a little suspicious about the IDO drop with the 1% being to the VCs.
Yeah, no, I will say that the 1% public sale and everything else kind of held back. The tokenomics, in my opinion, don't look good, but there is this case where you do have to separate the token from the project.
Yes.
Excuse me. So there totally could be a case where the token probably isn't a good investment for at least the beginning until there's more distribution of it. But the launchpad could still be a great launchpad. Just as Oculus as a business could make money themselves selling these NFTs and could sustain their business model. Meanwhile, the token may or may not do anything. Like they don't necessarily have to both be good or bad.
I would say you should mention to them maybe to reach out to BlockRank and see if they'd be willing to use that software, as a way to be, help them with their tokenomics and things like that.
Great idea.
Awesome. Well, I feel like that wraps it up. But we had a great show today. Honestly, it was we had a lot to discuss. BlockRank was pretty fun to talk to. What do you guys think?
Yeah, obviously, if there's
excited.
anybody in the obviously, I don't know how many people who actually have DAPPS going on watch our show, but if you guys see this and
You'd be surprised, honestly.
if you want to see it, if you want to be on our show, make sure to send one of us a DM. Obviously, this will be something we look to do on Thursdays. So, excited to have that as part of a segment, at some point to have, creators in the Algorand ecosystem on, or just influential
We need
people,
Silvio on.
right?
Yeah.
Somebody hooking us up with Silvio.
Along with my hashtag ALGOGetTomBrady, we need to figure out something with hashtag get Silvio on the next block.
I'm
Exactly.
trying. I'm working my way up the ranks. I've been, talking to people slowly in the foundation and the ink. So hopefully one day we'll have
That would
that
be awesome.
connection.
I would
Yeah.
love to be on a live thing with him. I don't know what I feel like I'd be nervous, but I don't know.
Right.
The comments said JT be nervous.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't know. JT, he's
Apparently
really
I was. I don't even know. Honestly, I was looking something up, so I don't even know what you guys were talking about at that moment in time. But I was like, yeah, we're nice.
Yeah, I think it was just a random comment. We get those from time to time.
That's okay.
Always
Yeah,
a good laugh.
it's like whoever joined the Twitter space that I hosted the last time. At the very end, I was just like, anyone else from the audience have anything they want to add? Somebody raised their hand. We let them in, and just like somebody was just meowing. Like it was them just like meowing. I was like, all right, nice. Like good addition to this conversation. But
Call this one a nice close.
yeah, let's
Yep.
wrap it up. I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Of course, this was fun. We will be here next week, next Thursday. Are we going to do another one on Monday, or are we going to switch that down to every other Monday?
I think
It's
we
up
should.
to you guys.
I
All
mean,
right, well, we'll figure that out. But
we'll
either way,
talk.
we'll see you at least every Thursday.
Yep. See you guys. Thanks for jumping in and being in the chat.
Appreciate
All right.
y'all.
Take care, everyone.